Hello lovebirds, TonyaTko here, and today is the very first assignment in our video series from self-love to soul love. Marry yourself or your soulmate. And so I'm coming out. The first video I did was the intro. Make sure you go and watch the intro video if you have not. Just as a brief kind of explanation of what we're doing here today. What we're doing here today is we're going to go through our past relationships and we're going to dissect them. We talked about in the very first intro video how, you know, these are situations that we have chosen, and so we have to kind of realize what it is that our soul is saying to us. So we got to go through these old relationships, realize what our soul is saying to us, what lessons is it that we're supposed to learn, so that we can move on from there. So let's just get right into the video. I have a board. Here we go. Let me excuse me. All right, so here we go. Let's see, can you see my board properly? Okay. All right. What we're going to do is, I have this written out on a large board, but you're going to put this on a regular paper that you get from the printer, out of the regular printer paper, right? I wrote it on a large board so you can see what the different categories say, because we're going to go category by category. I need you to create separate lines. We're going to have the what we're going to have on this side are the descriptions of what I need you to write out. Up here are going to be the names, and you can create areas that are larger so that you can write more. Don't constrict yourself. This is not an assignment of constriction, etc. This is an assignment of dissection. We're going to dissect our past relationships. So use as much space as you need. If you need to add more pages, do. But we need to go in piece by piece by piece. So here, let me show you the very first one on the list. Okay, the very first thing that we are going to write on the list is why. Okay, what we're going to do is I want you to write out the names of the people that you've had relationships with. On this board there are only two, but you know, in your life, write down as many as all of your relationships. You can even put friendships in there if you choose to. So what you're going to do is the very first category is you're going to talk about why they left you and why you left them. So you're going to put the person's name and you're going to write in this area, why did they leave you or why did you leave them, depending on who left whom or whether it was mutual. Just write the reason right there. Number two, the complaints. The complaints that people had towards you and the complaints that you had towards other people. So you're going to have, let's say the person's name is Johnny. So you're going to write, what were the complaints that you had about Johnny? What were the complaints that Johnny had about you? List or be as detail oriented as possible. Okay. And then the third one, things that you did to make yourself unlovable in the situation. So when you go over your relationship with Johnny, in this area, you're going to talk about the things that you did that made yourself unlovable. And you know what they are. You know that there were certain things that you did to provoke, to get a certain reaction, to garner pity, to make yourself unflattering or whatever. That's that section right there. And then the next one is the theme, the emotion or the feeling of the relationship. I want you to think about the entire relationship. And I want you to think about what was the overall emotional theme. Was there an emotional theme of longing? Was there an emotional theme of feeling abandoned? Was there an emotional theme of paranoia? Was there an emotional theme of anger or sadness, loneliness, whatever? What was the overall emotional theme of that relationship? And then the next section is actions. The main offenses. When dealing with your ex, what were the main offenses that your ex enacted? Did he or she used to beat you? Did he or she used to break things or curse you out? Or what were the main offenses? Was this person cheating on you? I need you to write down the main offenses. And then the next one, lessons. Make a list of all of the lessons that you learned in that situation. Because remember, this is the life that we've chosen. So I want you to write out the lessons that you have, that you underwent, that you learned, etc. in the situation. And the next one, this is my absolute favorite right here. EWSOPP. This is early warning signs of potential problems. This one is really important because this is when we start taking responsibility right here. I need you to write out what were all of the early warning signs of potential problems. And you know what they are, things that existed in the beginning of the relationship that were a warning sign to you not to proceed, but yet you chose to proceed anyway. What were those early warning signs of potential problems? And then the last one, how did you contribute? How did you contribute to all of this? All of the stuff that happened in the relationship. How did you contribute to them leaving you or you leaving them? How did you contribute to the complaints or the problems or the things you made yourself feel unlovable, or the overall theme, the actions, the overall relationship? How did you contribute to the outcome of all of that? If you need to go over this again, just rewind the video, why they left, complaints, things you made yourself unlovable, the emotional theme, the main offenses and actions, the lessons, early warning signs, and how did you contribute? Okay, so that's assignment number 1. Delve into it. Delve into it. This is for you. So this whole series is about finding healing. So delve into that assignment and take your time and write out enough. I find it important to state this very clearly for the record. I don't have my dry erase board because I'm not at work right now. So I'm going to do a demonstration for you guys so that you can see, right? And I'll tell you guys this. When I was in, I believe it was college, it was either high school or college, I don't wear deodorant now. I don't wear, like, when you're first going through puberty and your hormones are changing, whatever, your body is going through these different changes, and so there may be a need to wear deodorant at that stage when you're first going through puberty. And some of us become so accustomed to wearing deodorant that that we don't even know whether or not we really need deodorant. Number one, it's not healthy for you. A lot of the deodorants have like aluminum and other things inside there that are not good for your bloodstream. There are lymph nodes under here, but that's not what this video is about, right? But you can do some research onto that. I don't wear deodorant. When I learned in either high school or college that we excrete urea from under our arms, and we will not have a scent unless the bacteria starts to unless the bacteria starts to like reproduce in the area under your arm. And there are things that make the area conducive to the reproduction of bacteria and odor. One of the things is it being damp and wet. Another thing is not having it clean. So in the summertime, I just take two, 3 baths a day, 3 if I need to, but 2 baths, 1 in the morning. Sometimes I bathe in the middle of the afternoon if it's really, really hot. Sometimes, you know, right before I go to bed. So the 3 baths a day will stop the environment from becoming conducive to bacteria and to smell. So I mean, I don't have a scent now because I make sure that the conditions of my underarm are not ripe for bacteria to grow. And that's my next point. And the point of this assignment, there was a young lady, I did a video about my exes coming back into my life, and she made a comment saying that her exes had begun to come back into her life, but that she and when they called her up, that she was like on the phone and she was like, "You hurt me so much and this is what you did to me," etc., etc. I don't want us to do that. Number one, these are situations that we've chosen. Not only did we choose them before we came here, but these are situations that we participated in. Part of the reason that I need you to look at your early warning signs of potential problems is because there were signs and clues, or whatever, their actions, or the emotional theme, all of that existed in the relationship, and yet you still stayed. Let's talk about bacteria, right? Let's talk about that. right? Here we go. All right. Let's say that this is the environment right here, right? And let's say that this is a bacteria that is coming into the environment. That looks like a face. Let me put my little amoeba or whatever. Can't remember what's inside of a bacteria cell now. Let me put my little nucleus and my whatever. Okay, so basically, let's say that this is you, and let's say that this is your ex, right? There are things that exist inside you that are going to make the situation that exists between this ex ripe and rife for the situation that exists. You know, if you didn't have these things, these insecurities, these whatever that allow for this bacteria to settle in onto you, if this situation was hostile or non-conducive to whatever it is that they were bringing or bringing into your life, they would not be able to stay. They would not be able to stick. They would not be able to latch on to you. I'm going to give you a very personal example, right? I'm going to give you a very, very personal example so that you can see what I'm talking about, right? We talked about my exes coming back into my life one after another, right? And so at first I was like, what is going on here? You know, like why all these exes coming back? And then I realized that they were all up because I thought maybe, oh, something from the universe happened to make them act right. But they're still up to the same old games, but I'm not that same old person anymore. So what we have is we have a situation like this. That's me right now. And so when this ex comes back in with his little nuclei and he bounces down onto there, this situation is not rife for him to stay or even be entertained. And thus, boop, he is bounced right back off and onto another person, in which, can you see that? He's bounced right back off because there's no moisture here. There's nothing here for him. None of that. None. It's just a dry situation in which he cannot bounce off and leave. And I'm going to give you guys a very, 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 very personal example. Because you know what, you guys are very personal with me, and this is a personal experience, and I want you guys to hear this, okay? This is what happened yesterday. My ex contacted me, right, on this new type of, I didn't even know Google Plus had a messenger. So my ex contacted me on Google Plus, right? And this was the ex that I told you that I learned so much in this relationship. Like when I went through the list, I learned so much in this relationship because oh man, because I was so attracted to him, and he had so much of what I wanted in my life as a human being. I wanted what it was that he had. And I don't want to go into more detail about that. You can just use your imagination about that. On paper, he really had a lot of the characteristics that I really wanted in my life. I really wanted to be a part of my future. Okay, so he contacted me on this Google Plus Messenger, and I care not if he sees this video, because the truth is the truth. The truth has no owner, right? So anyway, excuse me. So he contacted me, and so I saw the message, and I was like, what could be going on? Because, you know, like I said, I've been getting contacted by a lot of exes recently. So I wrote him back, and, you know, we went back and forth in our little jibe for a moment, and he says to me, oh, did you know that the messenger has like the capability of like doing video? So I was like, wow, really? So I was like, okay. So so you know, it was a Saturday morning, so I wasn't dressed. I was like, let me just throw something on real quick. So I threw something on. I came back to the phone, and because I hadn't seen him, and remember he was so fine. So now I'm curious as to what he looks like now, because it's been like 2 years. So he's so fine, and I wanted to see him, and so I was like, cool, you know. So I get to this. So I get to the camera. I didn't go through a big production because it wasn't really that important to me. I don't care what he thinks about me personally. I really wanted to see him and see how he looks now a few years later, because like now he's in his 40s, and I want to see if he has grays or if he's still looking strong and muscular, how he's looking. So anyway, so we get to the part where, and I don't know how to use Google Plus Hangout and all of that, especially not from the phone. So he enters the Hangout. I enter a Hangout, but there's nobody in my Hangout. So I go to try to enter his Hangout. I don't see anybody in his Hangout, and I'm like, I don't see anything. I don't know what's going on, or blah blah blah, right? And he's like, oh well, we'll just do this some other time when you know how to use this better. And I'm like, what type of foolishness is this? You know, so I was like, this is dumb. So I'm like, no, I'm trying this right now. So just, you know, just show me how to do it. Because he's like, he'll come back when I learn how to do it better. But this is not my forte, and I've never used this thing before. So anyway, so I'm like, wow, this is just so weird. So I'm like pressing around on all these buttons, right? And so he's like, um, jibing me like from the text portion of it. And so he had said something, oh God, I don't remember what it was that he'd said before, but I was like, oh, when he was like, yeah, you know, we'll just do this some other time when you know how to use it better. He was like, I gotta go, right? But yet he was still writing to me while I was trying to do this thing. Just games, foolish games. So anyway, so I click on the little icon up at the right, right? And when I clicked on the icon up at the right, I could hear like this sound, right? So it was like the sound of this TV, but I didn't see a person. All I saw was like this black box. It looked like an entertainment unit or whatever, right? So I'm like, hello, hello, right? And I'm like, what? I'm like, what is this, right? So then listen to what this stupid fool does. This stupid fool. Now, meanwhile, remember, I haven't seen him in 2 years. I was really like wanting to see what he looked like or whatever. But instead, when I get into his camera, there's a box over there, just some entity. I don't know what it was. And I heard like this sound. It was like a movie was playing in the background. It was like some horror movie. So not only was he watching a horror movie, number one, he didn't have anywhere that he had to go. He was watching a horror movie or some stupidness. Two, he had the camera facing some entertainment box. And then do you know what he did? Guess what he did? Guess. He was like, oh, gotta go. And then he clicks out of the thing, and he's like, but he's still writing to me, and he's like, oh, what you heard was my TV and all this other stuff, blah blah blah. And he's like, yeah, I saw you. And I'm like, what? So he's like, yeah, he saw me. So meanwhile, this person had his camera facing outward at some, like, I guess, you know, cameras have two different sides. So he had his camera facing outward at some foolishness. Meanwhile, he's absorbing the beautiful view from my camera. So these were all things that were just classic in our relationship. The teasing, you know, the leading on, the leaving a person high and dry, and the non-reciprocity. So after that, listen, let me tell you, the old Tonya would have been like, the old Tonya would have been like really drawn into that. The old Tonya would have been like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you. Why would you do this? I really wanted to see you. What's going on? Where are you going? The old Tonya. Let me tell you, new Tonya, here we go. Don't give a damn. I really don't. I wanted I wanted to see what he looked like, to see if he was still fine. In my imagination, I imagine he's hideous. Not only is he probably hideous externally, but internally, he is just not the man for me. He is non-reciprocal. What type of person? It's like, who leads a person on like that to turn on their camera and to just no reciprocity, no respect, no consideration, lies about being busy, just game, just making himself unavailable, and all that nonsense that I just don't have the time for. So I told him, I said, listen, don't involve me in this stupidness no more. Don't, I'm like, just, there's a way to just leave the conversation. And it's like, oh, once you leave the conversation, you can't come back in. I wish this fool would write me again and think that he'll get a response from the queen. He can't. So let me explain to you what's happening right now. Here we go. This is the new Tonya, full of all of her gumption or whatever. This is the new Tonya. I'm not that old Tonya with the divots inside of her, with the curiosity and all that other stuff. And this is him. Against my surface. And here we go. Bounce right back off, because I'm not playing the game. There's nowhere for him to enter in here. None whatsoever. And when I went through the list, I saw how all of the things that I went through, that I thought that he was doing to me, were things that number one, I allowed. One of the early warning signs of potential problems is that he was separated from his wife. They never got back together. He's divorced now, but he lied to me about the separation. That was warning sign number one. I was like, oh, he didn't want to lose me. Ooh, so he told me this untrue story. But no, and I had to realize, listen, a man who has respect for you and who cares about the longevity of the relationship is not going to lie about something like that. He wants you to see him for who he really is. He was in a transition. He didn't give me good information. He lied to me. I found out about the lie, and I continued in the relationship. I did, of sound mind and body. That was a choice that I made. So when you look back over the situations in your life, when somebody puts their hands on you or somebody calls you out your name, what is it about you that is allowing that person to come back into your life to perpetuate this drama, perpetuate this pain in your life again? You know, there's certain lessons, and when we went over this board right here, one thing that I need for you to do is I need for you to look for patterns. When we talk about the complaints, what are the complaints that you had about this other person? And I can guarantee you that there will be complaints that'll go across the board. Johnny was not attentive enough. Johnny didn't listen to me when I spoke. But then, oh my goodness, Eric didn't listen either. Eric wasn't attentive enough. And it's not until you, listen, honey, let me explain it to you, honey. It's not until you take responsibility for how you contributed to the situation that you can find healing. These people are just players in your life. They are playing the role that you have called into your life to help you learn the lessons that you as a being need to learn. So look for the patterns. What is it that exists across the board, from Erica to Sasha to Renee to Ronaldo? What is it that goes across the board? What are the constant actions, the constant emotion that you're feeling? In that relationship with my ex, I felt a constant longing. He kept me longing for him because he was never fully available. It was like he was in the relationship but on the periphery of the relationship, so that I had to always be the one to reach out and pull him back in. Always had to be the one to entice him with my passion. Always had to be the one to pull him back in. There was a constant, just like that classic situation that he pulled with that webcam foolishness, thinking that that was going to draw me back to him. It only made me realize, listen, he never appreciated what he had before. He had all these stupid games, and he should have never, God, he should have never been granted an audience with the queen. But you know what? The thing is that it took me going through that to be the person that I am today. So somebody asked me, why did all of these exes come back into my life? They came back as the test. You know, they say in that life is the only thing in which you're given you're given the test and then the lesson. There we go. So I had gotten the test before. They tested me, and I don't know. It's only a flunk if you don't learn from them, because it'll keep perpetuating itself in new relationships. So I learned from this. And so these people are coming back into my life. And I'm not talking about ordinary exes like, oh, was it no passion there? Oh, was it no desire there? I'm talking about my most tempting exes have all shown up one by one. And what it has taught me is that I've learned my lesson and I'm ready to move on. And this is how I know that my one is close. I'm no longer entranced by those old dramas. I'm no longer entranced by proving my worth to an unattainably gorgeous man. I am no longer entranced by the drama surrounding, holding on to somebody's attention. I am not entranced by that. I'm not entranced by mysteries. One of my exes who came back was Mr. Mysterious. He would disappear sometimes. Like, that's a big warning sign right there. And I used to fight to find out. You think I care to fight that foolishness now? I just can't. And oh goodness. And you know what? I knew. Listen, because I hate to talk all personal, but I knew the biggest test that came with the baby mama drama person, the biggest test, when I knew that you talk about warning signs, let's talk about telltale signs. I knew. Because he used to claim that he used to work so much and be so tired. Honey, I own my own business. I work. I am tired. You work a 9 to 5, honey. It's not that. No, there's no reason for anybody to go disappearing through any portion of the evening or the weekend. Oh no, not at all. There needs to be a certain openness and there needs to be a certain transparency that I need. So basically, the telltale sign came writing on the wall when this fool told me, and how did he expect me to be all right with this? That his baby's mother had to move back into the house with him. And he was like, oh, she's going to be in another bedroom and all this other stuff. That was the no, you don't need to say nothing else to me. Ain't no way. It wasn't no way. There was some other things that I fought for in that relationship. Ain't no way. After he said that foolishness, that was no. Done. Finito. That was something that just could not permeate my being. No way, no how. You're going to tell me you're living under the same roof with the woman who has your child. Not because I don't trust him, but because the whole situation is inappropriate and because he's not handling his business as the man that I need, creating proper boundaries or creating a situation that is conducive, creating a situation that is conducive of him having a person in his life to go to the next level. All of that with the baby mama drama and all of the fighting and the way she used to get him arrested and the drama with the baby and it was too much. And then the same person who had him arrested and had him attacked and all this other stuff was the same woman moved back underneath his roof because of, and I knew where that was going. I knew where it was going, and where it was going was towards some more drama that I didn't want to be a part of because they was going to get arrested. He was going to get arrested again, and she was going to say he raped her again. And there was just too much. Like, foolish, I can't deal with that. So I had to remove myself in that stupid situation. It was just too, and so I need you to, look over your list. Look over your list and really, if there's one thing that I could say before we end this video, don't Don't look without, look within. The problem does not lie in the other people, or the answer does not lie in the other people. The answer lies in you. The answer lies in you. You have the key to your own healing, because there were things that you did that allowed that situation to happen. You. And these people just, they came into your life and they satisfied a need that you had, and you allowed to grow in the way in which it grew. People used to always say, and I never understood when they would say that people only do what you allow them to. And you know what? It's so true, because I'll tell you this. You know, when those I had a friend who dated a guy who was addicted to cocaine, marijuana smoker, couldn't keep a job, living in a room, and all this and the other, and whose baby's mother attacked her in the street, and she's still stuck with this dude. Then the dude started selling drugs, and he was disappearing, and wouldn't, and then it was just, oh, so much drama, and she was caught in the situation, right? And so what ends up happening, and much like, I'm going to tell you this, right? This man was able to get into her life because there was a situation that was conducive to a bacteria like him growing in her life, or that bacteria type of relationship growing in her life. This is me. Listen, when somebody approaches me with some blackened weed smoke blackened lip, boom, they bounce right off. Someone approached me with their pants hanging down low, boom, they bump right off. You know, that's me. Because those things are just not, they're just, I bounce those out. So the types of things that are going to be existent in a relationship with a man who is addicted to marijuana, or addicted to, you know, these substances, and can't keep a full-time job and all that other stuff, and the baby mama attacking in the streets, all of those, like the swagger and the, yeah, mom, she happened to find that attractive. Yeah, ma, how you, yeah, yeah. She found that attractive. And then all of the stuff that came along with that, yeah, ma, yeah, how you doing? All of that stuff that came along with that, the drama that came along with that, is something that was able to permeate her present state of consciousness, or her prior state of consciousness. Now, when she sees those type of men, boop, bump right off. You know, so it's like, in your life, believe me, I've had men who were women beaters come into my life, but I didn't know that they were women beaters because they never got the chance to beat me. The moment that they started screaming and cursing and acting crazy, I was gone. I was never got a chance to put a fist on me, ever. Ever. You know, I mentioned that in my video, the things I learned from exes. Someone had slapped me, but I was a teenager then. And I knew from very early on that was something that was not going to be a part of my life. I had no interest in that. You know, so it's like there are early warning signs of potential problems that a person is violent. There are early warning signs of potential problems that a person is a liar. There are early warning signs of potential problems that a person has a drug addiction. There are early warning signs that a person cannot keep a job. There are early warning signs that a person is not going to be upstanding. If this person does not have integrity, if this person does not live up to their word, if a person says, I'm going to call you at 8 o'clock, 9, 10, 11, next day they call you. That's not standing up to your word, you know. So, and it's like there are early warning signs, but it's up to you. It's up to you to know what it is that you are going to allow inside your being. You know, like the moment, right now, the moment somebody tells me that they don't have their baby mama situation under control, boom, out of here. Boom. I don't have the time. I don't have the time for that. So listen, let's hug. This was assignment number 1. Stay tuned in the series. This series is from self-love to soul love. Marry yourself or your soulmate. So I just want you to get into one love. That's what I want. I want you to get into one love, the same love from the divine. And I want to disseminate some of the issues. In the next video, stay tuned for video number 2. You can play them all in the playlist so that you can know and understand your assignments. Let me know how your assignment went for you. Write it down below. If you want to do a video response and get personal and put some healing out there into the universe, do that. If it's too personal, I understand. Right below, come to my website, TonyaTko.com. Meet me on Facebook, facebook.com/TonyaTko show, twitter.com/TonyaTko, and stay up with me. Let's hug, and I'm out. TonyaTko. Oh, I love you guys. I love you guys very much. Go out there and love one another. But most importantly, what? That's right. Love yourself. TonyaTko, and I am out. Peace.